From our Center for the Arts studio, this is your Ashland University Eagle News Update. I'm Connor Dunwoodie.
And I'm Rachel Ramsey. Thanks for joining us.
After Donald Trump's historic win of the 2016 presidential election, many people are wondering about the power the president has. TV 20's Ingrid Schmidt has the story.
After a contentious presidential election, many Americans are still concerned about the results. But what is the true power of the president according to the U.S. Constitution? The president has two main jobs, the faithful execution of the law and the commander-in-chief of the military. Both are aimed at protecting the natural rights of American citizens.
The president's chief job is to secure the rights of the people through domestic policy, the enforcement of the law, and through foreign policy, the protection from foreign threats. All in all, I think the job of the president can be summed up in his oath of office: to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States to the best of his ability. The reason why either side becomes afraid, has fear, when the opposition party wins the presidency is because over the past century, we have slowly eroded the limited constitutional capacity of the president, expanding it beyond its original constitutional forms. So the separation of powers and checks and balances contained within the Constitution, originally designed to keep the president as well as the other branches in check, I think there's an argument to be made that those have been eroded. If we return to the Constitution's original limits, there's no reason to be afraid when your guy or gal loses. Because in this republic, it's the Constitution that rules. If we can return to that, you don't have to be afraid of anything.
Stevens is hopeful that President-elect Trump will be a more constitutional president.
I think that if he surrounds himself with the right people, that you have a good chance of returning, at least in some ways, to limited constitutional government. I saw very little during the campaign that would suggest that Trump would be interested in returning to the Constitution as the founders understood it. But if he, like I said, surrounds himself with the right people, that's a sincere possibility.
When talking about the powers of the president, it's always important to keep the Constitution in the conversation. For TV 20, I'm Ingrid Schmidt.
Coburn Gallery is currently hosting two art exhibitions, Divergence and Kara McWhinney's Senior Art Exhibition. TV 20 sat down with gallery director Cynthia Petrie to find out more about them.
Divergence is a play on not only fiber arts with the materials that artists use, but also on the concept of the interpretation of the art. They start with an embroidery hoop, and the installation came about just from that one item. And our senior artist that will be graduating in December is Kara McWhinney. She is an art education major, and she's currently doing her student teaching in Medina. And this is the culmination of her studio concentration, which was ceramics. And the work really comes from a personal place for her. It deals with the idea of something being broken, but also being mended. And even though you have that break, that's life experience that can be positive.
Kara McWhinney's Senior Art Exhibition and Divergence can be seen now through December 18th. Coburn Gallery is open from 10 to 5, Monday through Friday, and noon to 4, Saturday and Sunday.
Ashland's annual Tuba Christmas took place on Sunday. Their local tuba, euphone, and baritone players performed Christmas carols for the community.
Tuba Christmas was a really unique experience. It highlighted all the brass instruments that you normally don't think of when you hear Christmas carols. It was really fun, and they let us all sing along too. The conductor explained right before it started that the whole movement started in the 70s in Indiana, and it's kind of just spread around the country ever since. My favorite part was when they played Jingle Bells, because it was just a really fun time. Everyone was singing along. They had little kids playing with bells, and they even repeated it again for the encore because the audience loved it so much.
According to the coordinator of the event, Scott Garlock, more Tuba Christmas events will take place in Worcester and Akron in the coming weeks.
Ashland University will officially begin its observance of the holiday season with its annual Festival of Lights on December 11th in Ashland University's Jack and Deb Miller Chapel. AUTV 20's Kate Seifert has the story.
In its 26th year, the Festival of Lights is a co-sponsored event by the Office of Religious Life and the Music Department. Although this service is a tradition at AU, Dr. Ron Blackley said it has greatly evolved since its first year.
The Festival of Lights used to begin outside in the sometimes bitter cold, by the way, and then they would light the outdoor lights in the chapel, including that big Christmas tree by the chapel. I guess the president would be there and would flip on a switch, and I guess the choir would sing one or two things, then everybody would walk in the church at that time. This is one of those events that we keep the same because people like it. It is I describe it either as a choral concert with lots of prayers and scripture reading, or a worship service with a lot of choir singing.
Blackley said one of his favorite parts of this service is choosing new music and trying songs they have never performed before.
Folks in the community particularly find it a beginning to Christmas, kind of like a spiritual boost in the Christmas spirit. Others come just for the music, and so you can find all of that. I hope they have heard some wonderful music, maybe something they haven't heard before, and maybe a lot of things they have heard before. There's several Christmas carols, traditional Christmas carols, alongside all the choral music that people probably grew up singing, and they will be sung in fair style with the organ playing loudly and the chorus is singing right along.
Reporting for AUTV 20, I'm Kate Seifert.
For more Ashland University news and sports, don't forget to check out the Collegian at www.ashlandcollegian.com.
And tune in every weekday morning from 7 to 9 to the Early Bird's Word on 88.9 WRDL. That's it for this Ashland University Eagle News Update. I'm Rachel Ramsey.
And I'm Connor Dunwoodie. Thanks for joining us.